I'm so excited to introduce our next guest because we know her. We actually do. She ran for office this last cycle and she was a great candidate. And I love her. She's such a good human being. So I'm excited to introduce you all to Denise Wooten. Denise Wooten is a candidate for Texas House District 63. She is running in a contested primary against, and then this seat right now is currently held by Republican incumbent Ben Bumgardner. And we know he's not a good guy. Ben owns a gun manufacturing company. This is an AR-15 gun manufacturer. Not a great guy. Not a good guy. So let me introduce you to a woman who is a good woman and a good human being. So, Denise, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're running for office?
Yes, thanks, Nancy, and the mothers and others for hosting the forum, and I'm very glad to be speaking to you. My name is Dr. Denise Wooten, and I'm running for Texas HD 63, which is the southern part of Denton County. So mostly Flower Mound and Louisville, a little bit of Carrollton, a little bit of Roanoke and Trophy Club. And I did run in 2022. I've spent 30 years as a practicing clinical psychologist. My specialties are autism, ADHD, anxiety disorders, learning disabilities. And that has led me to work very closely with school districts, with other medical professionals. And it's given me a bird's eye view of the inadequacy of human services funding in Texas. So that plus the awful political climate once Trump won and Abbott started getting even more cray-cray. And a psychologist, by the way, can say cray cray, right? So now that things had gotten so bad, I was like, I've got to do more. Like, this is not okay for people. People are suffering because of these policies. And so I jumped into running for office. It had never been on my bucket list of things to do, but I just got involved and thought someone's got to run, because last time in Denton County, out of the 5 House districts, only 2 of us ran for office in any of those districts. Only 2 of us were willing to run against these red Republican opponents. So we did a good job last time. We campaigned hard with very limited money, but tons of volunteer hours. I had the most wonderful volunteer team, and we came within 12 points. And that was the 6th best Democratic turnout in a red district in all of Texas. I'm like, my gosh, what could we do if we had more funds and resources? Because he had $1.5 million and we had 20,000. And we still came within 12 points in the district. So I'm very proud of that. And I'm running again because everything that I cared about in 2022 got worse in the 88th legislature. And so I decided to step up again and run again.
Wonderful. That is great. And you're right, it did get worse. It's like whatever you thought was going to be bad during the 22 cycle, it was worse. It was worse.
Yep.
And even though it was worse, it could have even been worser. Or, it could have been a lot worse, believe it or
Yes.
not.
Yes.
So Denise, tell us, what are the top 3 issues that are most important for your district right now?
Like every other Democrat, I care about the same kinds of things. So we sort of have to look at, we would all probably vote the same way on most policies. So I looked at what is important in my district, but also what do I bring to the table as an expert in clinical psychology who works with kids. So my goal would be, I want to go down and be on the committees where I know the most and could be of the most help. So of course, that's public education. Of course, we need to beef up our public education and say no to vouchers. We need to pay teachers better. We also need to respect educators. Let them choose the books. Let them choose the curricula. I'm very passionate about public education in the sense, too, that they did away with the DEI, the diversity and inclusion kind of equity and inclusion programs at the community college level. I'm also a community college professor in my free time. You might love psychology if that's what you do in your free time. So they did away with the DEI programs, which is going to severely limit the people who will want to come here and be professors. So I think we need to change that back. I would like us to have more community college access. Turns out if you get a 2-year associate's degree, it increases your income on average $20,000 a year for the entirety of your career. So community college is part of public education. So to me, public education is the great equalizer of opportunity. So not just rich people can get ahead in this world. And we've got to be able to provide an adequate K through 12 and community college for students in order for them to advance in their lives. I'm also very passionate about mental health. That's my deal. And until I got involved in running for office and did a bunch of research, I didn't realize just how bad it was. 98% of the counties in Texas do not have enough mental health providers per capita, including Denton County, where I am. 98%. That's not even saying all those providers are good providers. They just happen to be a provider. So we are severely limited in the resources that we have for mental health. And that also involves that we're about 50th in funding per capita for mental health resources in the state of Texas. And so they can preach all they want on the Republican side about this is not a gun problem, this is a mental health problem, but then you ain't funding mental health, people. So, we need a lot of resources devoted to solving some of these crises. The overall medical lack of affordability, lack of access is a major problem in the mental health world and in the regular world. A significant percentage of my district live in poverty and depend on Medicaid. And Texas dropped almost 2 million people off the Medicaid rolls in 2023. That is not okay. Those people depended on it. They also dropped Planned Parenthood as a provider just because they consider them an abortion clinic. But Planned Parenthood takes care of STDs. And now we have a rise in syphilis and congenital defects for newborns because of syphilis. Now we don't have anyone to give cancer screenings and preventative care. When you took Planned Parenthood off of that, the state of Texas also goofed up and did not do the compliance rules. And so the public schools now cannot bill Medicaid for developmental services, which they needed to do in Title I schools. So developmental services would be speech, PT, OT. Well, since the state of Texas goofed, next school year, that's about $300 million worth of less special education services that can be provided in these poorer schools. I don't think that's okay either. But the thing I want to go down to Austin and say to people is we can't just expand Medicaid access. There are some huge problems with the Medicaid system itself. You're talking to somebody who was a Medicaid provider for 25 years. I took Medicaid and served people in the mental health field. And I had to get off of Medicaid because they paid so badly. And I don't mean just the little bit they paid, because it's about 50 to 70% of what other payors pay. That's if they pay, because the system is so inefficient. They also need to work on the system of the eligibility. Some people were dropped off just because they were inefficient and they're understaffed and underfunded, so they can't even take care of all the Medicaid eligible people. I'm very bothered by that we are not taking care of people in a variety of ways, human services in my district and in Texas. And that's why I'm passionate to get down to Austin and try to do something for people.
Wonderful. I hope you do get down here. I really, really do. We need people like you. I'm a special needs parent, and we need somebody to help out with these kids for sure. So I hear you there. So Denise, tell us, where can we find you and how best can we support you while you're running for office?
Okay, my Facebook is H. Denise Wooten. That'll get you to my Facebook. And then my website is www.wooten-4-texas.com. And of course, I need donations, but I need block walkers. I have a primary with the early voting starting February 20th, and I really need to get out to people. I need people who can text. So sure, I'll take donations, but I'll also take your feet if you'll come and help me block walk. So up here in Flower Mound, and we have a good time doing it, and I would love to have that support and just moral support. You know, all of us Democrats are in this trying to do something right by people, and to be a supportive community, that's gold to me as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Denise. I'm so glad you're running again. You are definitely such a good human being, and I have so much respect for you. So I look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail, and thank you for taking the time to, let us learn a little bit more about you tonight.
You are so welcome and thank you.